Cool. We're there. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, one and all, you wonderful fellow citizens of the globe. It's Tuesday. It's the 13th of November. Hello and welcome, one and all. It is, of course, World Radio Day. And today on the station, that's all we've been doing. We've been all about World Radio Day, and we've just been at it, celebrating, talking about it, having lots of different really, really great guests on all the shows, on all the platforms. So it's been a wonderful day on KNR, Keith Ngesi Radio. And and so it will be no different tonight as we continue with the celebrations of World Radio Day. With that said, welcome to This African Life on KNR, where it's extraterrestrial radio, okay? Where it's radio according to you. My name is Lungi Onachia, and thank you for honoring your standing invitation to join me here every Tuesday and every Friday between 6 and 7 as we do what we do best, which is to discover, learn, and of course, celebrate our wonderful continent and its awesome people. I am coming to you from our Cape Town studios out here in the Woodstock area at number 17 Queen's Park Road. I hope that you've had a fantastic start to your week. Of course, I'm not alone. I've got Uzim Zima. Who got the keys to your bima? I've got my girl in studio, Uzim Dolawe, too. Beautiful Zim representing Overberg. Hi, Zim. Welcome.
Thank you, Lungi.
How are you doing?
I'm great. It's World Radio Day. I'm happy.
I'm glad that you're feeling happy. Listen, as I've mentioned, we're on that business of World Radio Day. So can you give us a brief explanation of what the day is all about?
Well, today marks the 100th celebration of World Radio Day. Now, World Radio Day was established by the United Nations Educational, Science and Cultural. It is an observance celebrated every year on the 13th of February, and it was first celebrated in 2012. This day is celebrated to raise awareness of the importance of radio as a medium of communication and to promote access to information and freedom of expression through radio. Now, the main goal of World Radio Day is to show the unique power of radio to bring people together, promote dialogue, and foster understanding across different communities.
Fantastic. That sounds really, really great. Thank you for that wonderful explanation. I do want to say that I really love all the different bits and pieces that Radio Day stands for. You know, I'm all about that access to information, about fostering those conversations amongst communities. I really, really love that. So just maybe, since you've just given us that lovely explanation, I want to know from you, your own little special memories, your own little, something that says, oh my gosh, radio is this in my life, or this is what comes to mind when I think about the role that radio has played in my life. Can you give us a brief on what that means to you, what it's been for you, radio?
Okay, well, my earliest memory of listening to radio was in the morning, getting ready to go to school. I mean, radio was like this invisible sibling that was there for me. It guided me through those bus journeys on my way to school. And not only was it entertaining, but it was very educational. I was always looking forward to listening to new music and to what was going on around our country and as well in Africa.
Oh, fantastic. I like the fact that for all of us, almost all of us, radio is such a constant. You know, it's that thing that is part of our lives. It's that thing that just kind of remains like a part of our families, a part of who we are, a part of our journeys. And that's been the sentiment today when I've been listening to people sharing their own little special memories about Radio Day, World Radio Day, and what radio has meant to them in their lives. So we are live on social media. We're there on Facebook. We're there on YouTube. And we're out there on TikTok too. And for those who do want to engage with us today, those who do want to share some of their own special memories of what radio symbolizes for them, or what it brings up for you in your life, you can definitely do that. Would love to hear from you. And the number for our studio line, if you want to send us a voice note or just a WhatsApp, it's 083-770-7058. That number, 083-770-7058. And so today I actually let me quickly just share my excitement. I've been so excited today. I got an opportunity to hang out with one of the other presenters. As I mentioned earlier on, everybody on the station was kind of on the World Radio Day, vibes. They were celebrating. They had really great guests, and I got to jump on to the jump off with Quacks there. At 9 to 12. That was really special for me. Truly enjoyed that one. And I think all the shows were just fantastic today to listen to. And it's just been a jump. It's been really awesome. Did you get an opportunity to listen, Zim?
I did. I enjoyed it so much.
Did you wish you were there?
Well, I wish you invited me.
But you're here now. It's just as important for you to be here. And I'm so glad. So today is a bit of a special broadcast, like I've mentioned earlier on, because of World Radio Day. And today, I think as African Life, what we're doing is that we're adding our voices. We're turning up the volume to join the millions around the globe to honor the incredible journey of radio from its historic beginnings to its promising future. And I think this year, World Radio Day, for me personally, also kind of serves as a reminder that it is one of the most inclusive mediums. As we mark over a century of radio, I think it's definitely a moment worth celebrating. It is definitely worth celebrating its qualities, its influence, and of course, its impact. But as we celebrate, I also do want us to remember and acknowledge all the other challenges that are facing radio in this time. I'm talking from the rise of social media to some of those economic hurdles that we know exist, especially so when it comes to community radio stations, which I think are such an important part of our communities and so much more. Yet still, in my mind, it still kind of stands as this symbol of trust and credibility, especially like when we saw it do its thing in that time of COVID-19 pandemic. And so to help us today tell the story of radio, to tell of radio's impact, to look at some of the challenges, we will be in conversation with Shepi Mati, who is a lecturer at Rhodes University School of Journalism and Media Studies. But I think beyond that, he is, for many of us who have had the privilege of being taught by him or have been trained by him, I think quite the inspiration and has made an impact in our lives and our careers. And so I just want to welcome you to the show. Welcome, Shepi, to the show. Welcome to This African Life. Thank you so much for making time to talk to us tonight.
Yeah. Thanks. It looks like on my part. Speaker. Yeah, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for making time for us. Thank you and welcome to This African Life on KNR. We absolutely appreciate you coming on to talk to us tonight.
It's a pleasure. It's my pleasure.
All right, I think so. Before we start off, I want to ask if you could just give us just a little bit about who is Shepi Mati and the work that he does.
Okay. I currently work at the Rhodes University School of Journalism and Studies. It's one of the premier training institutions in the continent. Before that, I worked at CPUT, and before that, rather To that time, I also worked for a long time as a producer at a project called Democracy at IASA. I was working closely with the radio station. I came in this space via community, primarily producing feed, and which was a basis for reimagining beyond 94. In other words, beyond democracy. And it was primarily television, and it had one end of alongside it. So I've been involved practically since the first community radio station in the mid-90s.
Wow. Wow, that's fascinating. And I think it's actually great that we have you on tonight, because earlier on Uzimkita was telling us that we're celebrating over, a century of radio, and you've just mentioned the first community radio station. And I want to start off by asking you to maybe share with us some of the most, I think, significant milestones for you when we look at the history and the evolution of radio.
Yep. If I were to start perhaps the pioneering milestone for me is my own influence by radio. How radio influenced growing up. I literally grew up on radio. We didn't have anything else. We just had that radio set, and would all around it as kids, listening to story time, and also to the announcement, death announcements were very important part of or routine, daily routine in our household. And the early podcast kind of influenced me, where people like Theon was really a pioneer from this town, and really was based, and was joined later like K and Augustine Nonga, and the whole number, leader from far, so on and so forth, and whole number of broadcasters. They influenced me. That was the first place. And that time it was Radio Bandu. It set up as an extension of the broadcasting system under apartheid. The community to a large extent undermine the intention of apartheid using these platforms as propaganda. A second very significant milestone was 1991, Amsterdam. 1991 happened one of people gathered there to map out the broadcasting system of South Africa under democracy. And this is that conference called the Jabulani Conference. And it was that conference that let me try. Are you hear me your side?
I can hear you, but I do pick up that we've got like a bit of an echo, and then like a little bit of cutting in between. So I don't know if...
Okay. I've tried to reduce my feedback from my side.
It's much better already.
So 1991 was a critical moment because in that conference, the idea of 50 years of broadcast was born. So that you'll have public broadcasting sector, and the second tier is privately owned commercial sector, and then the third tier is community sector, owned and controlled. So those two were quite significant milestones for me. I think I could talk about later all the developments, but
that sounds fascinating. Sounds really very exciting. Like sometimes I feel when people talk about these kinds of impacts, these kinds of experiences, things that they were part of, it almost feels as if one was born in the wrong era. Like you could have been part of something so great, this rich history. I really, really love that, and I think those are really strong milestones to highlight. And I want to understand now about relevance, because I'm listening to all the milestones you're talking about, and it speaks to how relevant and important that this medium, radio, was in that time. How are we going to maintain the relevance and the importance in people's lives?
Radio as far as I'm concerned, will remain relevant, especially in our continent. And I also dare say, especially in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, where the majority of human beings are to be found. And also in the regions that kind of depend largely on a strong sort of oral culture. So that is the basis that defines a kind of radio relevant audience. The majority of people do not have connectivity because telephone, mobile telephone, can now access mobile telephones. In time, the internet will come. But in the absence of that, the first of all, the media of great reliance of people in this continent is the ring. It remains quite relevant from that point of view. And I think for me, it has grown over the years with the advent of television. Radios don't die, and radio never died. It grew. It grew. Radio is an example. I can think of a revolution. That any genuine revolution adapts itself and grow roots. So radio has been that over the years. Quite impressive.
Really, really, really impressive. And with that said, I wonder now about things like I know you've mentioned about connectivity, and then how radio still maintains its relevance then in the face of that. But what about things like social media platforms, other digital platforms, the rise of that? What are some of the challenges this presents for radio when it comes to things like audience engagement, when it comes to things like revenue? What do you think about that?
Yep. I think social media has been kind of positive spin-offs in the sense that radio is quickly adapted to social media. For instance, I am talking now with streaming, and I can see your picture, whereas in the past, radio would be and would able to see the visual. So there's been a lot of adaptability to social media environment. There are challenges that are social media. They apply particularly in relation to current affairs, because practically anybody can be a source of news that can supply information and means that now the text and verification needs to be strengthened on the part of those news and current affairs, because you cannot practically run any fake news, sort of stories generated sometimes by artificial intelligence means. So it's all those challenges they face. By the way, only other means. Radio particularly, we've seen radio marshalling audiences via social media and bring into the space and taking them from the audio space into the social media. So that cross-pollination that use of social media to grow an audience, and it's been impressive.
I love it. I love the fact that I like to say we. Actually, I'm talking about radio, the industry as a whole, but I love the integration, the way that it's adapted and how you see these being included, especially when it comes to community radio stations, because I think perhaps they would be they would feel it the hardest when it comes to other mediums taking over, yet they are so important and they're so central when it comes to communities and the role that they play. And thank you for mentioning the problem of misinformation, disinformation. It's such a big deal, because I think that for me, for the longest time, I've definitely associated radio a lot more with credibility, as I mentioned in the beginning. So I feel very protective over the space. It feels as if it's almost like the one medium that I think is most inclusive, I can say, and will reach a lot more people. So it's almost like I've become protective over it, to say that we cannot have things like misinformation enter this space. And so with that said, can you talk to me a little bit about the role of journalists in this space, in radio? Since we are celebrating World Radio Day, a big part of it is everybody behind the scenes, and more so especially with information, getting crucial, factual information out to people. Our role, our responsibility as journalists. What can you tell us about that?
Journalists have very big responsibility these days. Let me on something that happened in 1994 in broadcasters were impaired in mobilizing people who murder others. I mean, radio was got just like any other weapon. It is a double-edged sword, and then it depends on those who are behind the microphone as to how this you to build social cohesion, to forge national consciousness of issues that face and that arm within field. So that not only our reality, so we can transform, make better. Because what is if not to make life better? Because that was the original journalism and storytelling about those people instead the community understand the dangers that it was faced so that it could itself and it could find sources of livelihood. So journalists still that role there. We as instances of higher learning, we have a moral responsibility to always and support journalists. In recently of a number of journalists, at least upwards of 80 who were killed the war in Gaza, and horrible. That's a crime. I mean, these are people out to tell story of suffering of the people of Gaza, subjected to that bombardment and the killing that's on there in that part. So journalists have a very big as people are committed to seeking the truth, to telling it in such a way that assists society, our society with information, truth information, so that society can begin to deal with its own ills, improve its own life, especially today, especially in our continent. So important. One of the wars we have very little about going on. I think call it low intensity. It's been in the DRC, going on for a while. Yes, I mean Sudan, and Somalia, and so on. The DRC, I mean that country has never had any rest. The 1960s assassination of the first democratic country, or prime minister. So we face challenges on the continent, and generally play a critical role as people who need to, as I say, raise their own vigilance in these times of disinformation, misinformation. We see in the war in Gaza, there's been a lot of misinformation. It's quite important to really raise their own vigilance in that context. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, I think it's also a difficult time when you've seen that there's also a lot of spaces where journalists might not be able to exercise the freedom to actually report on the truth. And so I think it's a difficult one to kind of navigate, because the situations that they find themselves in can sometimes be so challenging, so dangerous. And I was happy today to see that there was a lot of acknowledgement for those journalists who were killed while being in the front lines, essentially, and risking their own lives to be there to make sure that the truth gets out. So I think on this day, those are part of some of the important things that we should be remembering, that we should be doing, is that there are journalists who go out there to bring us the truth, and that it's important to also put a spotlight on that and have those discussions too. I just want to read a comment that's just come in for you. That is from Lazola Chikwana. Mulazola says, the greatest to ever do it, Datu Shepi, learned a lot from him about radio audio journalism. I think that is beautiful, because I know for a fact that I feel the same way too. I learned so much from you, and I think this is so nice that you've got this comment.
Thank you very much. Thanks for you too.
All right, so I know that I don't want to keep you for forever, but it's nice having you here. So I'm going to keep on asking you questions. So I want us to move a little bit forward. I want to talk to you a little bit about the future of radio as we're entering the next century, and how maybe you see it. Where do you see this going? What do you foresee in the future?
Yeah. I foresee a lot of possibilities for radio. I think, as I said, radio is a very important medium, because it's the most democratic media, really. I mean, think about it, because it involves experience, the least experience. Listening a backdrop of their own experience. They are painting picture, their minds uniquely there. So the closest I can think between to radio technology is the magic of jazz music. Because in jazz, space for instruments to emerge and put them stamp and rest their voices as individuals. Solo. But you also have a team that produces beautiful music. this individual. You have that balance between and the individual. Radio, it's a similar thing. There is a huge number that produce what we hear ultimately our speakers home, but it's the individual who often define the individual the personality develops here. We've got quite a lot of skills. So I foresee a strong future for I don't think it will die at all. In fact, because so intimately connected. Culture of orality, how people express themselves. You do not need to go to school. You do not need language formalize and express correct terms when you are in front of that mic. Express yourself in your language. To care also is an important way of preserving our language, because our languages are very heritage of humanity. If a language dies, it's a huge loss of humanity. I'm quite impressed by what are being done to recapture one of the languages, for instance, in the northern Cape. So it's efforts in our continent. Because the language only a medium of communication. This language that is preserved through radio. Not only a medium of communication, it carries the community, carries history of the community. It is through our languages that we know and understand that the Khoi people and the Amaxhosa people live side by side. And their languages. You can trace the influence between the languages, the traditions. When I'm young, we knew of something fan, which is when a woman preparing to leave. And they know exactly what. And a lot of words because I come from Namakoi languages. If the Khoi languages were extensively alive today, you would find traces of and so on. So what I'm short, Ray can never die for as long as on this earth, as far as I'm concerned. I think the future is secured. That's a question of how it is. Nowadays, which you can get listen on demand. So at a time available to you. So it just shows us the ability of this medium. Of course, podcast is also used as a way of high radio content.
Absolutely love it. You know what I would love to see? I want to know if we could ever, at some point, with all the different languages that we have, the beauty of having so many languages and having them have separate radio stations where the broadcast is being done in our languages, in our communities where we live. I wonder if one day we could see, like, maybe for World Radio Day one year, where we do like a chain cast from one radio station to the other in a, telling a story of how the one language feeds into the other one. I think that would be fantastic.
It would be beautiful. One of the things, radio. You remember the theme this year is educating, entertaining, and informing for 100 years. We've been in this kind of responsibility from that, yes. So the important thing about educating us as for instance Southern Africans. I'm just talking of Southern Africans. Relates to how our language is so interconnected. I had a friend deep down who had come all the way from Brazzaville. Congo Brazzaville is quite a small country. God is rich in terms of natural resources, oil. And yet that oil, the revenue from that oil benefits 80% of it benefits France particularly, and only 20% the local population or the elite runs the country, but the local population had benefits. So he ran away from the conflict. There was a new candidate who election presidential candidate on the basis that he was going to change this thing to put it upside down, this formula where 8% revenue from oil would feed the country, would come into the people of the country. And he won the election on the basis of that message, but he hardly had time to assume office. They were harassed, overnight. We know who are that destabilization. We want us to continue depending on them. Then he ran, Cape Town, and in Cape Town, the first thing he wanted to go and thank the Lord, protecting him all the way, because it was run so far away. He went to church in Kylie on a Sunday. He said there listening, and 80% of what he's saying, even more than 80%. You could understand the Christian in each course because it's a Bantu language. He speaks from back home. So it's just how the connection of our language right across most of the region of the continent. And this is an important thing, and part of educating ourselves. So what you are suggesting is so powerful. Just to have that even greeting beginning with the greetings across a different network of radio stations. We can do it. We should do it. There's nothing stopping us from doing things ourselves as a continent. We no longer. We don't even want to say let's wait until someone does. Especially those who are outside the continent. If they find us, then they determine one point they feel this is not fashionable. They withdraw the funding. You are left with a collapsing. We need to find creative way of building this that bring us together. And let's think about solutions to our problems as a continent. I just wanted to share a small story. I was in 2015. I was in South Sudan, Juba, and in South Sudan, where I slept. They had warned us there's a war, continuing war. So if we hear gunshots, we must just run under the bed. Don't even go in the window because short. So you just hit under the bed. And the band said there was I heard my first night, big bang, another one. So I quickly went under the bed. I laid there for a while. Then it subsided. And I came, slept. The following morning, breakfast, and breakfast along the Nile River. Beautiful. You can see boats going up and the Nile River. Sitting there. Then I asked the guy, "Did you hear the gunshot?" They say, "What gunshot?" So and then I had to ask the waiter. And did you hear what I explained what I heard? And he said to me, no, that's mango fruit. It's falling. And needless to say, no, listen, this thing remains between us. Don't tell anybody. It was mango fruit overripe everywhere. So I asked why don't you harvest it and keep it in the market? And they said, no, we don't have roads. Our roads are bad. And I'm thinking in South Africa we have civil engineers who are unemployed, who are like roaming the unemployed. If we think continentally, we could bring these civil engineers here to build the roads in South Sudan. I think of all our presidents, there's kind of very close to thinking this way. Thabo Mbeki, he had this vision African, and he thought as a result, he built a library in Mali. So it's that sort of challenge that faces. I'm quite passionate. I'm sorry to bring so many. What is that they told me? They are importing from Uganda. When I asked where do you get it from Uganda? What the heck, man? They've got the richest soil in Limpopo. In the Limpopo, ready, it's rich, and the fruit grows everywhere, and yet not harvested and taken to the market.
There's just so many opportunities that exist, and you don't even have to apologize for how you're feeling and the passion that you have, because it speaks directly to what this show is about and the kinds of things we want to talk about, the kinds of conversations we want to open up for people to have. I've spoken to some people who've imagined railways that come from one part of the continent and weave its way to the other end. And these are all possibilities. Even the small idea that we were just discussing about the languages and connecting them just between our different countries on the continent. I think that these are the types of conversations we are constantly having on this platform, because I think that a lot of us are seeing the potential of this Africa, what we know this continent to be, and the potential that it has. And I think that maybe every single generation maybe has something that they feel very strongly about, and then contribute towards that and work together to kind of make it a reality, and the next generation will take over. And I think where I'm at is I'm trying to find those other people who want to connect, who want to start collaborating, who want to start sharing ideas, because I think it starts there, and then it will keep growing, and it will become something that is like a norm, something that is part of how people think from the continent. And I know it's difficult, it's not an easy thing to do, but I think that it starts at this point, because our continent is rich and it's being exploited, and it's been going on for far too long, and we need to change that. And part of that is also changing what people know about this continent, or what they believe based on what they've been told and how it's reported on. So thank you for that, because it contributes directly to what we're trying to do with this space. So please don't apologize for your passion. It just means you're part of us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right, just to wrap it up, I think that it would only be right for you to maybe leave us with your parting words on Radio Day specifically, just in terms of the value and the potential of this medium, and just kind of your final thoughts as we wrap it up.
Yeah. No. Radio. It's the story of radio has not been told much as we should have told it. I'm glad that there is a book that's written or edited by Professor Sander at UWC, and also our former colleague, who's now based, I think west or western, and they produced a book. His name is They wrote a two-volume 100 years celebrate 100 years of last year. They actually I think it is this year being officially launched. And that book begins of trying to tell the story of radio. There's a story of pioneers working on here in Makanda, pioneering broadcasters in what I said Radio Bantu, and who really carried the flag time that very difficult in the 70s. They carry a flag of cultural symbolism, language, expression, rituals. It just is amazing their contribution to radio that quite deep to them. So for me, it's not only these pioneers, but pioneers across the continent. Stories of pioneers that probably ought to know about, and so we need to research, write stories, and we produce programs that deal with stories. We have our own incredible. I mean, one of the most influential broadcasters for me is the name of Ed American. He changed radio storytelling and generally he went on television. He was amazing storyteller. Now we have our own storytellers of that caliber, and even more, but that we have had practically because of the challenges that you are to address this program, which is our stories as now to simplify. It's been a narrative that is about dying baby poverty in Africa, and none of the agents taken to change our continent. So that is why I like you saying that the idea of one generation building on previous generation. And I was in Cologne, the radio training as part of my training and developed as a there Deutsch in Cologne, the cathedral. This cathedral, and the cathedral literally is one of the buildings in city. You could literally see, will show you 12 began, it was 1200. But those people who built it, then they died. The next generation came and built on. Next generation, and so it's like a monument to ourselves, and how those of us today stand of those before us, and those who come after stand on our shoulders to continue to be and make this continent a better place. Deserves to be a more just plain place, and storytelling critical role in that, and radio.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shepi. I really appreciate your contribution here tonight. I appreciate the time that you've taken to come and share. I don't know if I can put you on the spot like this, but I need you to agree to come back.
Yes,
because
yes,
now
anytime.
Yes.
Anytime. When I saw what your program is all about, I really felt that this the time for this is long overdue. And we needed yesterday, but now that it's running anytime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, because I really feel that there's so much value, there's so much we can gain from these kinds of conversations, especially from there are people, we've got access to people with knowledge that we can kind of, bounce ideas off of and find out how were things done in this particular time. How do you see this particular idea based off of your own experience of knowing where something comes from or having been there? And I think it's very, very important, because one thing that I have noticed that lacks a little bit is the ability to maybe have intergenerational conversations when it comes to building. I know that sometimes when younger generations want to do something, perhaps they feel that, we know because we're young, let's move forward with the ways of now. And I think that it's important that we draw certain things from experience is important. So I love the fact that we're going to become one big community, because there are really young voices that do come on the platform, and it's going to be just, I think, perfect. So I just want to thank you for availing yourself and for agreeing to come back on and being part of this family on This African Life. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I feel honored, and would also like to put you on the spot. I think if you could come and speak to a new generation that are trained in the institutions. For instance, we have a radio specialization, at the level. It would be great if you could come and speak to them about a virtual connection about what you and what is this whole show.
Absolutely. I would love that. I will avail myself whenever. Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. Yeah. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much. You have a great evening too. All right, peeps. So that was Shepi Mati joining in there to talk to us about World Radio Day. And I think that that was such a rich conversation that we had there. He's got a wealth of information, and I feel very honored to have had the opportunity to have the conversation with him. And as you heard for yourself, he will be back, and we will be having many, many more conversations like this with him. And so I think, Zim, if you are still there, if you can maybe tell us a little bit. Did you enjoy that?
I absolutely enjoyed that.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Zim.
I see, you know what I mean. But I absolutely enjoyed that whole interview. It was so insightful and entertaining at the same time.
Right? The story about the fruits falling.
Yeah.
Okay, so a part of course, the show is that we do like to invite you to engage with us, to, share your thoughts. Do you have voice notes for us to maybe play?
Yes, I have. Should I?
Just give me 1 second.
Okay, no
so
problem.
Sort out this voice note situ. Okay, let's hear a voice note.
Okay. Ready when you are?
I'm ready. You can go ahead and play them.
Radio was the way of bringing the family together. I remember in our family we were siblings, and we were children of aunts and of uncles, and we were all living under the same roof in my grandmother's and grandfather's house. So radio Xhosa was what kept us during the days, because we did not have television. So every day when it comes to the time of Ibali on Radio Xhosa, that was the time where you'll find everybody quiet, we're all seated, and the radio is the only thing that is speaking in the house. And everybody followed Amabali on a daily basis. Even when it comes to the time of the news, I remember my father and my uncles, they loved reading newspapers and books. So during the time of the news, we were, as kids, taught to go and sit in the room, and then they are seated in the dining room in the four-roomed houses of Guguleto. They will be seated in the dining room at the table with papers on their hands and listening to the news. So on Sundays, you will hear from all households in the morning. The only thing that we hear is the radio. It's either people are listening to a Sunday service or people are listening to the music from the radio. But that is what kept us, because we didn't have television. So radio has been great in our lives and has taught us a lot of things. I'm remembering amabali like Ogononomkulu, amabali like Ositaki, which were funny in a way and also scary when you listen to Ogononomkulu with all the changes in the voices and the things that were happening in the forest. So those were the very beautiful times, because also we knew that at a certain time that we all need to come in as children, and you know when this starts playing on the radio that is that time. Also, I applaud the presenters at the radio at that time, because there were no TVs. We couldn't see them, but in everything that they presented it in a way that made you feel like you are there, you are part of this. Even when they presented football, you would feel like you are in the field. You would see the adults seated around listening to the radio as soccer is playing, and it's being the commentator who's sharing or commentating for the whole world, for the country, what it is that is playing there. So it really, a radio helped to bring all of us together at home. And you would hear it playing from morning until the evening when the adults come back from work. My grandmother was not working. She was always at home. So it was always there. And the time we started, they were putting up batteries to listen to the radios. We had to go and buy your PM9, no PM10, the small batteries and the big ones, and they were connected so that we can all listen. And I remember at home we had a hi-fi, because those times it was a big thing to have a hi-fi, and we had to all the time go and buy batteries that were put at the back so that it can play. So really, when I listen to a radio today and think of the things that were happening then, life is good. And then one thing that helped us at that time is that when we were listening to the radio, we were listening with the parents. So we were able to interact with what was happening. These days, kids stay in their rooms and they look at their phones, and there's little time where if families they interact. You need to make the time. And at times you notice that the youngsters are really not happy because they've got their own agendas. But at that time, we would all sit together, and we truly enjoyed that time when we would listen to Amabali, laugh together as a family, and share in whatever our thoughts were in what was playing on the radio. So on this radio or World Radio Day, I want to say congratulations and the best day to all the radio presenters, and it's awesome work that they are doing for our families. Thank you.
That was beautiful.
That was absolutely gorgeous. And I love the fact that you can see now the impact that radio has had on our lives as families, and how much it plays a role in being part of the family. I think it's so beautiful that we've actually heard that sentiment throughout the day today. And if you remember even what Shepi said during our interview, that radio will not die and its relevance remains. So I think it's just the perfect way to end off the show with that voice note. It's actually quite heartwarming.
It is.
It's heartwarming. And I love the bit about the sports as well, and how the people behind the mic will paint the picture. I really, really love that. I hope that you enjoyed that. For everyone who is watching us on Facebook and on YouTube, thank you very, very much. As we wrap things up, I want to thank you for your time and your company tonight, for being here with myself and Zim. We will be back here on Friday. We are here every Tuesday and every Friday between 6 and 7. And of course, you do have a standing invitation to come and join us. You're part of this African life. So we expect you to be here, your front row seat in the VIP area with your name on it. It remains on that same spot. So I to look forward to our time together. And as I always say, I hope that something in this conversation inspired something in you. Something triggered a thought. Something will lead you to have a conversation that needs to happen, or that it's inspired a little bit of curiosity in you for you to go and find something out, or to read more about something, or that it's created a little bit more understanding for you. So with that said, Zimkita, that's it for us tonight. We're out of here.
It.
And like I always say before we leave, look after each other, love one another, and remember to always, always, always celebrate yourselves. So from us, it's good night. Yay.